Welcome to Outlining a Torts Exam. Sponsored by LA Law Institute, home of free educational resources, tutoring and more.
Hi there. Today we are going to look at outlining a torts exam. Unlike some other subjects, torts is a very broad category that has many areas that are all equally important. Unless you have an exam question that directs you to a specific area, there is always a chance you might miss other issues that may be hidden. For example, if you are asked about intentional torts, you may forget to check to see if defamation or false light might be a valid issue. In the subject of torts, there are three main sources of liability, which are intentional, strict liability, and negligence. We use these and a few other important testing topics to build our outline. To begin, let's start with our major outline. We write this down before we even read the call of the question so that we can be organized. The memory device we use is, I see my very new puppy digging in my nice backyard. The I is for intentional torts, arguably one of the most tested areas along with negligence. S is for strict liability. M is for misrepresentation. V is for vicarious liability. N for nuisance. P is for product liability. D is for defamation. I is for invasion of privacy. M is for multiple defendants. The second N is for negligence and the B is for business torts. You may have learned torts differently or don't agree with our choices, in which case you should make an outline that resonates with you. For your best results, you will need to decide what topics are most important to you or that you have trouble remembering. Our outline is just one of unlimited possibilities. Let's start with the I for intentional torts. Most are familiar with the ABC FIT mnemonic. It stands for assault, battery, conversion, false imprisonment, IIED, trespass to land and trespass to chattels. However, we can take that a step further and use, find ABC FIT. For the F in find, it's to remind us that false light can be an intentional act. The small I is to remind us that the intent in most of these torts may be transferred except for IIED. N is for nuisance and D is for defamation. As we mentioned earlier, all tort liability falls into at least one category of intentional, strict liability or negligence. In some cases, they may overlap. For example, defamation may be found through an intentional or negligent act. Next is strict liability. This has a small memory device that we use to build the answer. ABCD. A is for animals or abnormally dangerous activities. B is for breach. C is causation and D damages. Next is M for misrep and is included because quite often it can be found in a tort claim as fraud, deceit or misrep and we think it deserves an entry. V is for vicarious liability. When there is an employee or job in the fact pattern, this one can lead to many other issues such as respondeat superior, indemnity or discussions about independent contractors. N is for nuisance. Nuisance isn't actually a tort, but it's the harm that is caused by a trespass to land by an intangible item such as a noise, smell or vibration. We have a video reviewing nuisance if you want more details. P stands for product liability. When going through the checklist, it's easy to check for a product if you remember to look. Many times products are included with other torts so it won't be an obvious choice, but if you put it on your outline, you will remember to double check. Continuing on, we have D, which stands for defamation. I is for the category of invasion of privacy torts, which are appropriation of likeness, false light, intrusion upon seclusion and public disclosure of private facts. The second M is for multiple defendants. When there is more than one defendant, we need to check for issues that are unique to this situation such as joint and several liability, substantial factor or contribution. The second N is for negligence. This one is quite often the most tested topic in torts. We don't have a memory device since everyone knows the smaller outline, but we will say that standard of care and proximate cause are two of the most heavily tested and therefore important parts of a negligence essay. Finally, we have B for business issues. This is not a big part of torts, but here again, when it does show up, it's important to spot it in case it's part of a bigger claim. This would cover interference with anticipated or existing contracts. Three areas that we left out are legal proceedings, survival statutes and wrongful death. They are not tested frequently, but if you feel that they are something you want to include in your checklist, make sure you include them. So there you have it. The outline we use for a torts exam. Our checklist is only a sample of what you might put together for your own use. Being organized with a big topic like torts will help make sure you don't miss any issues and have a clear path to your best possible score. Thanks for watching. We hope this helps with your studies.